Welcome to Business Beyond the Game. I'm your host, Eric Jackson, and this week we're taking a stop in the world of college athletics with one of the trailblazers in the industry. I'm happy to welcome Bay Area native and Mountain West Conference Commissioner, Gloria Nevarez. Gloria, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, great, Gloria. Super glad to get you on here. Yeah, it's super pleasure. And, Gloria, let's just jump into it. You were the first Latin American woman to become a Division One commissioner, starting when you took your previous post at the West Coast Conference. What does that distinction just mean to you, Gloria?
Um, it had never my background identity really hadn't been an issue. I mean, it'd been something that was important to me during my career, but it wasn't until I was at the WCC in that leadership position and we were working on crafting the press announcement and working on what and how to say it. I'm actually half Mexican, a fourth Filipino, and a fourth Irish. I mean, do you put that in the heading?
Right, right.
But it's certainly, and I was actually steering away from it. I was convinced that it's important to include. And frankly, I'm glad we did because it really brought me in contact with a lot of people that, approach me about it and want to learn
Right.
more and maybe identify in a similar manner. And it's been really positive.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's great for sure. And, for you, you were also recently named president elect of the Women's Leaders of Sports organization for the next year. For you, Gloria, just in your position, how important is it for you just to promote and create a pathway, for other ladies who aspire to be in sports leadership? I'm just curious your thoughts on that role in your own career.
Well, in diversity, DEI inclusion, all generally, in college athletics, we couldn't represent a more diverse population when you think of the student athletes across all of our sports and championships. I mean, you probably couldn't make it up if you tried to get such a diverse group of human beings. And
Mhm.
so I think it's really important, especially because college athletics is about educating the whole person through athletics in higher education, in the academy, to also provide that mentorship, that leadership that can identify with that broad population. So I think about that when I think about promoting all kinds of folks of different backgrounds and experiences in the world of college athletics.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. For Gloria, in your mind, what can be done, right? To just, moving forward to have more people of color and ladies and in these positions, I'm sure I know it's a more nuanced conversation, but is there anything that comes to mind in your eyes that can just increase diversity, right, across leadership ranks?
I think it's being intentional when you have job openings, like making sure you do a diverse national search. And that's hard. I mean, it's easy to go to even my network of contacts wouldn't
Right.
probably provide very much diversity over several different positions, you know, be- based on the folks I know, but really reaching outside your comfort zone, asking people that know different groups and network in different areas to really be intentional about providing that opportunity to interview to qualified candidates.
I love that intentionality for sure. And I'd be remiss. Obviously, Mountain West has gotten a little more pub these days with realignment. I would be remiss not to talk about it. And Gloria, as you know, the Pac-12 has had this exodus, right, of members. USC, UCLA leaving for the Big Ten, Colorado, and others headed to the Big 12, among others. Difficult situation for the Pac-12, but potentially good for the Mountain West Conference. What's one word you would use to just describe this situation for you and your conference right now?
Honestly, for me personally, heartbreaking. It's a 108-year-old league that we all respect, and the fact that it could be no is no longer is still haven't got my mind around it. I'm frustrated, angry, disappointed. It's very personal to me. I have a lot of ties there. I work there, alma mater, my law school there. So all of that. From a Mountain West perspective, certainly the total environment has been hectic. For anyone who's a commissioner, I think realignment used to be something maybe once a decade you might think about. Now it's every day. When I started the WCC, the Mountain West was courting Gonzaga. When I started at the Mountain West, San Diego State is very transparent and public about their desire to be at the Pac-12 or the Big 12. So it's one of the things we think about every day, business wise. Um, we are ready for anything, any opportunity that makes the Mountain West better. Certainly, and I know Oregon State and Washington State still have a lot to figure out, I think, with the entity that is the Pac-12, and so no definitive answers either way, but we're ready for that conversation when they are.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I was just going to ask you because you were a senior administrator at the Pac-12. You played a big role in expanding the conference from 10 to 12 teams. So, is it emotional to see the exodus? Not just because of your work, but the traditions and history. You mentioned the 100 plus, year conference.
It, I mean, the Pac-12 was taking a lot of criticism in the last weeks, months because of the media deal and the things. But when
Right,
you think about
right.
what the Pac-12 has achieved, what they did in their Olympic sports, Stanford, the best athletic department, two decades, 20 years running through the Directors Cup gets left out. I mean, what is it? Just it's not right.
Right.
That's all I have to say about it. It's just not right.
Yeah, no, and your experience being an executive of the Pac 12, has that been helpful in navigating this period and making the right decisions for your respective conference today?
I think, having been in the Western region, knowing a lot of the folks involved, being able, 90% of what I've been doing this whole time is sorting fact from fiction, trying to chase down
Mhm.
rumors. Is that true? Is that happening? Did that conversation happen? And being able to rely on my friends and colleagues that I know in this region at these different institutions has been invaluable. Um, because you can have confidential conversations and share information without jeopardizing your business interests, but also helping inform how we move forward.
No, I'm sure it has. Going to the Rolodex has been helpful. I'm sure.
That, that,
Gloria,
that's what I should have said. Much more succinct. Going to my Rolodex.
the Rolodex. I guess that's an old term now, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes, unfortunately, I
Um,
do.
Gloria, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark said something of the sort. I'm sorry that my gain is your loss, right? In regard to the Pac-12. As a commissioner, how vital is it to remain focused on growing the brand at all costs, right? Even at the expense of another conference.
Yeah, I know that, and that's the thing. You think about the 10 FBS leagues, and there have always been 10. There's always been 32 Division One leagues, and so this really has kind of disrupted how we think about the business, certainly, and the balance. The average league size now is 14, 16, 18, somewhere in there. Before it was 10, 12, maybe 14. So it certainly has changed how we think about everything we do.
Right. I know. With these competitive media deals and everything, like it seems kind of cutthroat out there. Is that the right word to use? Cutthroat?
Well, competitive, cutthroat. I mean, that's what the business is always. I think this is just a new wrinkle about membership and
Mm,
schools being able to rethink themselves outside their current geography. Geography, I think, is what kept folks where they were, and
right.
that has been thrown out the window. So I think it's just as competitive as it always. I mean, it's sport. We've got a lot of competitive
Right.
people,
Right.
but also business. But yeah, I think the rethinking of how schools travel and compete has really been the thing that's changed this most recent realignment.
Yeah, those travel expenses seem like they're going to be taking a pretty big increase at a lot of different schools, right? Gloria, as we kind of wrap up here, you practice law and you've been in compliance and, you've touched a lot of different points in your career and some unconventional, right? I'm curious, what's just been the best business lesson you've learned during your career or one of them that you can, leave us with?
Yeah, I think it's just, especially in your early years, do the job, do it really well, even if it's not the most fun. Seek opportunities to learn other areas really
Mm,
well, because as I've moved up into this position, it's really beneficial to have a deep understanding of scheduling, to have a really deep understanding of officiating and the rules of the game, things that feel a little tactical and operational, but are really, really important when you think about what we do on a daily basis, how we deal with our media partners, how we generate revenue. And so it's just, um, I would say no part of it is unimportant. And all of it, even the things I did that weren't that fun,
right.
have built toward and helped me be successful in getting and keeping these jobs.
No, I love that for sure. Especially early people in their career, right? You're kind of, it's like a whirlwind for a lot of, a lot of folks, right? I think I love that. I love that. Well, folks, there you have it from the woman herself, Gloria Nevarez. Thank you so much, Gloria, for coming on. I really appreciate it, and always a pleasure.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you, and thanks for having me.